Leeds United made the most of their second chance in the European Cup against Stuttgart, the team they say has more foreign reserves than the Bank of England. Leeds won 2-1 in Barcelona in front of a tiny crowd. Their hero was Shutt. He scored the winner less than a minute after coming on as a substitute, and tomorrow's his birthday.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode 152 of the Talking Shutt podcast. Well, it didn't come home, which is a little bit disappointing, and we're going to have to talk about the fact it didn't come home. However, we're going to have what's traditionally known as a shit sandwich. So it's going to be a bit crap at middle, we're going to a bit crap at beginning, we're going to make it a bit better in middle, and then we'll finish on a high. That's the plan anyway. So good evening. Good evening, Mike. How the devil are you? Some nice bit of greenery behind you there, a bit of faunery, I think is the word. How are you?
Yeah, I had a bit of a switch around. I've also got my Leeds books.
Yeah, nice, good array of books. Yeah, I can see Lucas and David Batty and a bit of service crew action in there.
I'd like to say I've read them all, but I haven't yet.
No,
but
Mike, I also on the in the backdrop of your house, I also noticed a guitar propped up. So you're going to play us a bit, Mike? You're going to knock us a bit out?
I'll play you Wonderwall.
Yeah, the good old staple of everybody who learnt guitar, Wonderwall. Obviously joined also by Rags. Rags, how the devil are you keeping? We've missed you for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, football didn't come home, but I've come home, haven't I? So
that's more
every cloud. I'm back. Yeah, all good.
All good. And joined by Ben, who's currently trying to work his technical wizardry because hopefully, fingers crossed and all that other stuff, this is going to be our last episode over the internet, and we're actually going to see each other in 3D next week, which will be the first time in 16 months.
That might depend on Amazon and whether we can get all that stuff set up.
So maybe the week after then. 3D the week after.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah, so maybe the week after. But yeah, we're trying to get each other back in 3D again, and continue this. Anyway, so episode 152, we're sponsored by Manscaped, which you'll hear a little bit about later on. They've got some more products that we need to push for them fine individuals at Manscaped. Right then, lads, we're going to have to address the elephant in the room. We're going to have to talk about it. England, Euro final. So much to talk about. So many things we could discuss. Racism rears its ugly head yet again. Fans decide, or some fans decide, that they don't have to pay for tickets, and that's perfectly fine. So just break in, essentially. And England score early, give us all a false sense of security, and then basically don't do much more for about 60 minutes, and then we lose on penalties. What a surprise. Coming to you, Rags, because you've been absent this weekend in the WhatsApp group. I thought you was a little bit upset about the football, as it's understandable, while we were all ranting on about everything else. What did you make of the game, mate? I mean, I spoke to a few people at work after, and I said, do you know what? Taking the emotion away from it, and how well the team have done, to be honest. If I were Italian and I'd lost to England on penalties after that performance, I'd be even more devastated because I thought they were the better team, if I'm painfully honest.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think we started off brilliantly. And obviously, you can't legislate for going ahead so early. But even then, after that, it looked like we might go and get another and another. And I thought, after all the slating that I'd done all tournament and before that of Southgate being too negative and too defensive, I thought, maybe I was wrong. And then by the time half-time rolls round, they were back on top. And then the second half, it was completely different, wasn't it? It was. I just don't understand. I mean, I know we've defended pretty well, haven't really conceded. Well, I haven't conceded any goals in open play all tournament. However, we were up against out of everyone this tournament, the best side that we'd faced up to this point, and to try and defend and see out a one-goal lead which is exactly the game plan that we came out second half. I just didn't ever see that ever working. Why not do? I couldn't have ever seen Bielsa do that at half time. Just kind of, he would have been, let's put a foot on the throat and let's do the exact same and go after him and try and get that second goal. If you go out on your shield, you go out on your shield. At the end of the day, we haven't, and it's a bit disappointing. Look,
the annoying bit for me was the starting tactics were perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we got that early goal, and the wing backs had so much space.
Yeah,
and
that first 15 minutes was England playing without so fear much as well.
Joy.
Yeah.
But then we kind of just, which I guess has become a staple of us in this tournament, we tried not to lose the game from there. And I guess you can do that with 20 minutes to go. You go 1-0 up and you try and win a game with 20 minutes to go. You could maybe understand that. But not after scoring after 3 minutes. It's just impossible. You cannot do it.
Did it almost ever feel like, I know it's a bit cliche, but we scored too early, as daft as that sounds, for the way that Southgate's been playing this tournament? He's kind of preferred to stay in games till 60 minutes, then score, bring on players who are going to make an impact in Grealish and Foden and people like that. But it kind of came in the wrong way around, as if we scored first, and then we're a bit like,
it was very similar to. It was very similar to Croatia in the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We got that early free kick, we scored.
Yeah.
And then we just, in cup football and finals football like that, you just have to, once a team is on the back foot, you have to go at them.
Yeah.
And that's what Italy did. All right, they didn't score sort of to go on and win, but
they could have
absolutely battered us.
Yeah. I mean,
they came at us, and every time they came at us, they got more confident and more confident, and so they probably should have won in 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Pickford makes some brilliant saves to deny him as well. You know what I mean? They definitely had the chances to score more than one goal in that game, whereas we didn't really, did we?
No.
Even for the bits that we got back on top, I'm thinking like the second half of extra time where we had a more attacking position. There weren't clear-cut chances that I can even think of, to be honest, whereas they did. That second half, they had a lot of chances. The goal was coming, and then even after that, they didn't sit back, did they? Straight away, I turned around to bed. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I said, there's another goal there. It's all going to capitulate. Because that's what it looked like. It looked like they were just all over us.
And you couldn't see one from the other side. You could not see England scoring.
You could not see us going up the other end.
Which we have had where in games where it didn't look like we'd score and we went on and did. I can't remember which game it was. We scored later on.
The Denmark game, wasn't it?
Was it the Denmark game? It might have been that. But so. We'd never looked like scoring in that Italy game.
No. I think you look at the two keepers. Pickford's pulled some worldies out and done a runner. Hasn't really had to do much, has he? To be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than pick the ball out of the net for the first goal, he's come and claim crosses you'd expect him to come and claim. Other than that, he hadn't really had anything to do, to be fair.
Yeah, there was the Stones header that he tipped over, but it looked like it was going over anyway. I think if the keeper doesn't touch that, I think that's still going over the bar.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike touched on it a minute ago. I think it's a bit disheartening to see when it's one apiece with like 20 minutes left. Harry Kane between the two midfielders. Like we just didn't have an out ball. We put pressure on ourselves because when we did get it, we attempted to lump it into corners. We didn't even get it in corners, lumped it out, and we just continued to pile pressure on top of ourselves. And do you know what? We defended superbly. I'll be honest, like at this tournament for me, I've took a different opinion of Harry Maguire, of Jordan Pickford, of Jack Grealish, football team loyalties aside, I think Jack Grealish has come out. So not quite zero to hero, but I think he's gone up in a lot of people's estimation because it says as much when you wanted them to bring Jack Grealish on. And I think it would have been better bringing Grealish on instead of Saka, if I'm honest. It's easy to say that in the cold light of day, but I mean, I just think Grealish offers you a little bit more in terms of he's a bit more savvy. Whereas I felt sorry for Saka because he came on, he tried to do something with his first touch, it didn't work. He tried to do something again with his second touch, it didn't work. And he did look just a bit devout of confidence. He looked like the occasion got to him a little bit.
And then the one time that he does beat Chiellini and leaves him for dead, like, well, he doesn't quite, does he? Because he just managed to grab hold of his shirt collar, and gets pulled down. So, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the substitutions is another thing that will definitely be put at the feet of Southgate because. In my opinion, and again, it's easy, Monday morning quarterback and captain hindsight and all that kind of stuff. But they did seem wrong. They did seem to take too long. To not put Grealish on until, I don't know what even minute he came on, but it did seem way too late.
About 60 odd or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe even later than that. It just.
Oh yeah, maybe actually, yeah.
The problem with bringing Saka on for me was a player like Saka. That goal he set up was the own goal for Denmark, I think it was. Sort of got him behind. He'll beat anyone for pace like that, but we weren't getting the ball in the middle to do that.
No.
Yeah. And I think I'd echo a lot of people in saying that Mount didn't have his best of games, and that should have maybe changed a lot quicker.
That's a massive factor
because he wasn't creating anything.
The second half. Yeah. He may as well not have been on the pitch the second half. I was watching it thinking, well, he's not on the ball. It's just, what's he doing? And then the substitution for Saka, I know he changed formation, but he brought him off for was it Trippier who came off for Saka?
Yeah.
And he kept Mount on. And then even if you're going to do that and switch the way you're going to play and go to a back four, get Mount off as well and bring Grealish on. Make it a double substitution. The substitutions by Mancini were spot on.
Yeah, showed the difference, didn't they?
They really did. And every one of those substitutes that he made a difference in that game.
Yeah.
Well, Italy are one of them teams out there that they've been in and around it for as long as I can remember. They're one of the teams that you have to win. Like, you have to win the midfield battles. And obviously, like you said, we hinted at there, Mount not showing up. He's one of our key midfielders. And if he's not having a good game, you're not winning the midfield. And, the first 15 minutes, Italy were absolutely rattled, weren't they? Like, some of their first touches and the defenders were absolutely rattled. So I agree with Ben as well. Like, you have to go for the throat. You have to go and get the second goal and the third and kill the game. But he allowed them to grow into the game. And like you say, second half, when we bring in Saka on and we ain't got the ball in midfield, it's like, what's the point? Like, if he can't get the ball,
Yeah.
So you can't get possession up the field, and it's Italy's game from then on.
Yeah, obviously penalties ultimately lead to our demise. And do you know what? People will criticise the free penalties and that missed, and I'm not a fan of the stuttered run up. I'm not a fan of this stop-start kind of thing. It just you can see people who look like they're going to miss when they do that. You think they're going to miss.
When Rashford stood, he stood like straight on at the ball.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend she's not interested in football, but she watched that game with me, and I said, that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
because you've got so much to do. Like, before you do that, he's got to move to his left, and then turn a bit, and then do his run up and get all them steps right, and and then they do like a hop, skip, and jump anyway. There's too much to go wrong in doing that.
Yeah. But let's face it.
Put the ball down, take a few steps, figure out where you're going to kick it, and kick it there.
Well,
like Harry Maguire did.
When Harry Maguire stepped up, I said, "What the fuck is a centre half? A clogging centre half like him?" Let's. He has definitely. He's impressed with his tournament, but he is still, and he just picks his top corner and puts his foot through it, smashes the camera, perfect best penalty of all of them in that penalty shootout, including Italy's, because it's the courage of convictions. No keeper saving that. I know you have to get it bang on, and you can miss over the top or whatever. But that's
the thing with penalties,
run-ups and stuff.
If you're taking a penalty and you're going at that and you're just going to go at it and kick it and the keeper saves it, then that's what penalties are about. don't give all this all they were trying to Rashford and Sancho. All they're trying to do is make the keeper move first, so they know where to put it and whatever.
Yeah.
But then you've still got to put the ball in the net, and Rashford, he hit the post, didn't he?
Yeah.
Rashford does the keeper, but then I think they even said in the analysis he doesn't actually look at the ball because he's so intent on waiting for the keeper to move. He's actually looking at the keeper when he makes connection.
Yeah.
He hit it with his heel, did Rashford?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he kind of dragged it, didn't he? But,
yeah.
Do you know what?
But that's all with the walk up, isn't it? You get that wrong and your angle's wrong and everything.
Of course.
And all it takes is a half a step one way to get that wrong in your technique, and then you're struggling to score.
I mean, but they've got Italy have got a player like that with Jorginho. He does that, and I'd hate that. And he ended up missing. I mean, that's a wonderful save from Pickford.
Yeah.
That's who I feel most sorry for, Pickford, because he's kept us in that game in 90 minutes and 120 minutes with some brilliant saves. He's then in 5 penalties pulled off 2 good saves. One, that Jorginho one, is an unbelievable save, and he's still on the losing end. He didn't deserve that at all.
I think the thing for me with penalties, it's a lottery, and I'm not laying too much blame at the 3 who missed. I mean, us 4 penalty gurus would obviously score because we'd have run up normal, but tongue in cheek entirely. Yeah. It's a very high pressure situation. But one thing that did ring alarm bells a little bit, and I don't know if it was Southgate trying to protect his players a little bit, is he came out after and said that he selected the penalty takers. He picked who was taking a penalty, because in the huddle before you can actually see Calvin with his hand up saying, "I'll take one," but then. I don't know. I mean, it could very much be a bit of mind games of Southgate saying, "Well, I told him to take it." He takes the flak. They don't get too much more flack. Or that was the intention, obviously. But that should never be the point, because I've heard. I spoke to a friend at work other day. Made 600 league appearances, and he was the regular penalty taker. And he says he had a decent ratio of scoring penalties at various levels. But he said he was played in the shootout, and he turned around to the manager and said, "I can't take it." He says, "Why?" He said, "I'm just absolutely bollocks. I can't take it." He says, "I'm not in the right frame. My legs are fucking had it. I can't take it. You have to get someone else to take it." Now, by making them take it, I think it's a bit brutal. If that is the case, by the way, I'm not laying it all at his feet, but that is what he said in his press conference, that he made them take it. For me, it should be, a voluntary type thing. And if he's got any concerns about any of them who've been clogging him into Rose Ed for the last 6 weeks, then he just goes, "No, maybe not you, son." You know what I mean? Kind of thing. I don't know. Am I reading this wrong or what?
But I guess you don't really know until you're in. None of us were in that huddle with the conversation of who was taking what. You can take pictures and try and lip read and whatever, but I guess they'll have done something in training to do penalties and go through penalties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, end of the day, you could pick 11 players and you don't know who's going to score, who's going to miss, or what. That's the whole point.
It's a lottery, isn't it?
It's a lottery.
Well, if you think about it, Kane's always taking you first, right? Because he's England's penalty taker. Obviously, Harry Maguire is up there because he takes the second one. He's brought on Rashford and Sancho literally with 30 seconds to go, so they're taking one. So realistically,
does that mean then that Southgate picked Maguire? Or did Maguire volunteer himself?
This is what I think. I think this is a very kind of leadership thing.
There's no way that Southgate picked Maguire.
Just
maybe he did
because maybe in the training he's putting them top on like he does like he did there every time. I don't know.
But just touching on Mark Ryde's comments on YouTube, 2 of them were subbed on last minute. Yeah, I'm not saying they weren't subbed on for that. But the point I was getting was, if Southgate has, if he's saying he's picked the players, then forget it. I know what point I'm trying to make.
That makes sense. But as well, that I think a lot of bit of criticism has been on for them 2 that came on, and I was speaking to a Man United fan who I work with who was saying a similar thing. But for me, you're a professional player. You're brought on to take a penalty. It's like. Yeah. I guess you can compare it in a way to like NFL, where they go for the point after the touchdown. All he does is come on and do that. I guess there's maybe a bit of a mental thing that's his job anyway.
Yeah.
But a professional footballer who's as talented as Sancho and Rashford are, they shouldn't be coming on and thinking, "Well, I can't score this penalty because they should be good enough to do that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
And also, it's a judgment call from Southgate to think they are mentally capable of coming on and maybe not even getting a touch in the game and still be able to dispatch their penalty. Else, why put them on? Even if they are technically the best penalty takers, if you don't think their mentality is right to be able to do that, then you don't put them on. Simple as that.
So to kind of round it up, I'm very proud of the team, very proud of the players. I think that they went far past my expectations. I openly criticised Southgate and his way of going about things on the show, and ultimately, the togetherness of the team. But from a complete Leeds perspective, and to kind of tap into another thing that's irritated me quite a lot lately, Calvin Phillips has stepped up in a major way for me and showed that he absolutely belongs in that discussion with some of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League, even though he's played a little bit further forward for England. But this is the bit that irks me a little bit. This weird thing, this obsession that we've got in England that he can only play in a final because he plays for Liverpool, Chelsea, or Man City. Like the run up to the game, the chat about Henderson should come back in for Phillips because he's got more experience. And when Henderson came on, it was absolute bobbing.
I forgot he came on.
That discussion wouldn't even be had, would it? If Calvin played for Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, these perceived top clubs, that discussion wouldn't even be had. Nobody would be looking at Calvin Phillips saying he shouldn't be playing in that game because he's been outstanding for all but half a game against Denmark, where he weren't great for half a game, and then second half he was incredible again. We need to stop
and extra time as well.
We need to stop this. It's a big club mentality.
That's how the Premier League is, because it's all the European Super League thing. They are the elite
entitlement.
Yeah, and I think as well it's a part of a worry from them that they aren't as elite as they think now, because everyone's got more money, because it's all about how well you're managed as a club and stuff like that. Because Tottenham aren't in the Champions League anymore, Arsenal aren't in the Champions League anymore.
No. Precisely. Well, you can't be. There's only 4 spots.
Yeah.
And there's a top 6. I put the Henderson thing down to just Liverpool fans being salty because they missed out on Trent Alexander-Arnold, didn't they? They missed out on Gomez being represented in an England squad. So I just put it down to them wanting their slice of the pie, and maybe like Ben said there as well, they feel like they need to have somebody in the England squad to validate themselves as well,
But does a Liverpool player deserve to be there? Because
this is the point. This is exactly the point we're making.
They romped the league, and people have slated us about burnouts and stuff like that. Liverpool had a good 6, 7, 8 month burnout from the beginning of last season. Now COVID isn't all right. They maybe went to the Club World Cup and stuff like that. So and they played a lot of games, Champions League and whatever. But still, no one talks about Liverpool's burnout because they're burnt out fully.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but I did see something that because of caffeine tablets. That when they won the league, apparently Jurgen Klopp did it at Dortmund as well. They had a really good year one year because they were taking allegedly on caffeine tablets, and then obviously, like any caffeine, you have the sort of come down that they just cannot keep up to that level and keep taking substances like that.
True.
Allegedly,
massive allegedly.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, the arguments behind the whole Henderson thing was, he's got experience in the big games, Champions League final, all the kind of. Well, they can be put to bed now because Calvin's shown that he's at the very top level now. Yeah. He's bossed to midfield in the final. All tournament had been doing it, and then he did it. He didn't kind of get nervous. And we have seen him get nervous before. In his career. Old Trafford this season, he was hooked at half time. He wasn't, the occasion kind of got the better of him. He has grown and grown and grown. So now, if anyone says that again, you go, well, actually, no, because at the top level, he performed, and not just performed. I mean, the stats. you know, I mean, look, he plays in a pressing side, and you know, you cannot compare the pressing that Leeds do to England because it's just the two completely different beasts. But he was still doing the exact same as what he does for England, for Leeds with England, and those stats show that. You know,
86 kilometres.
Yeah, the amount he ran, the amount of defensive pressure he was putting on players all over the pitch, defensive third, midfield third, attacking third. At certain times he was showing those forwards how to go to him.
I was just about to say he was doing Harry Kane's job.
Sick. Oh, Harry Kane. Oh, don't even get me started on it.
Before we have Raggy's rant, I can see a new feature coming up. Just a shout out to Trev Brennan, a lad I know. He says, "What about Rice? Top player of the tournament for me, West Ham player." Do you know what? Do you know what I think Rice has one downside where? The point we've just touched on, he couldn't keep up with Calvin's work rate, and that's why we saw Rice come off at 80s. But I thought when he was in the game, it was fantastic as well.
But the whole England team were like that with the difference of Calvin's fitness to everyone else.
Yeah, well, massive.
Was just amazing, and we've passed over that a few times in like when we've played and we've outrun teams and stuff like that. The difference in fitness between us and other teams. I sometimes worry that what if other teams sort of matched up to our fitness, where we would be, because without a doubt that takes us over the line in some games.
Yeah. Do you think there's a little bit of worry that for me that some of those players go back to their clubs now and go, fucking hell, like Calvin is fitter than like me, and he's, you know, what they're doing at Leeds, we need to be thinking about.
But the thing is,
they get that. We've had that in the Championship, haven't we? They've been doing murder ball and stuff like that,
and failed.
yeah,
and we've had it before. We've all said, you know, could Bielsa do that? You know, could he go to a City and get them all running like that? You know, chances are they're not going to. Those big name players are just not going to do it. But he has shown that even at the top level, it's funny because I'm in a group chat with some old mates and. None of them are Leeds fans and stuff like that. And I can't remember what other games it was. I can't remember which one. It might have been the Denmark game. And I was criticising the press because I was like, this is just, it's pathetic. And like, especially Harry Kane. And they were like, oh, it's 25 degrees in Rome. You can't press for. And I went, well, Leeds could. Leeds could press for 90 minutes. We do it. We do it week in, week out. Not just in a semi-final. We do it. We did it in the Championship when you're playing Tuesday, Saturday. So don't give me this, you can't press for 90 minutes, because we've seen it. We've witnessed it.
And that is part of the trouble with, I mean, the press in general, but they allow this narrative that you can't do that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the problem with why England haven't won anything for, 55 years are we now? The press allow that, and they allow the, I don't know what the word is, like the plodding along of how English football is and how it has been, instead of demanding more.
The thing is, this is what we talked about over and over again, and I'm not getting on my high horse. I refuse, but I am going to for a split second. When you've got plant pots like Jermaine Genius, and you've got co-commenters like that who plant the seed and then other people run with it, that teams burn out. Leeds only won the Championship because of COVID. This, that, the other. It just all boils down to one thing again. It's just lazy journalism. And do you know something? I'll hold my hand up. You know something? At times we've been guilty of it, and I'll use Jack Grealish as an example. I didn't rate Jack Grealish before this tournament because all I saw him as is somebody who gets Villa free kicks, gets them further up the pitch, you know, and I will hold my hand up and say I've got him wrong. He's very, very effective. A lot of it does involve rolling around on the floor a lot, but he's very effective at what he does. He's not scared to drive at people. So I'll hold my hand up and say that I bought into the narrative of Jack Grealish falling on the floor all the time. But I don't hear fucking Jermaine Genius chirping up and holding his hand up and saying, oh, I got it wrong about Calvin or somebody else who, oh, he should know it. Like we're even seeing in the run-up to the game, the mainstream media saying Henderson should come back in for Phillips. Based on what? He's been crocked all season. When we've seen him, he's been absolute fucking bobbins. When he did come on, he snatched a penalty off Calvert-Lewin and missed it. What are we even having this discussion about? Play the players who were fit.
Scored an header when we were 3-0 up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really particularly have anything about Henderson, to be honest. I'm just a bit pissed off with this constant, like we've seen it now. Calvin needs to go to a big club. Based upon what? Based upon what? Because they're saying he needs to go to a big club to live up to his hype. You know, years ago, Man City were a fucking second division club. Like, you know, it changes. These big clubs are not going to be there forever. It'll equal out at some point. Spurs will fall away. Somebody will replace them. You know, I hope to God that Man United will fall away at some point. Spurs have fallen away. And so, yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's like this weird. Like, do you know what struck it on, Raggy? When we interviewed Neil Kilkenny, that was the moment when he said England. Well, he didn't say these words, but that's what I deduced from it, that we have an issue in England with this attitude towards the way that things should be done in football, and it's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. There's no reason why Calvin. And the way that it's going at Leeds at minute, we'll get onto Leeds in a minute, can't drag Leeds up to this discussion of being a top 6 club in the Premier League. Why does he need to move on? He don't need to move on. Like, what's success measured on? How many Lamborghinis he can have when he's 35? Or the fact he pushed his hometown club to a new level? The fact he's got a statue outside ground? Get to fuck with this idea that you have to move to big clubs. It pisses me right off, as you can probably tell. I'm fucking sick of it.
And you've seen the same with, like, players that are at, like, Leicester. Who, exactly. All right, Leicester maybe faded towards the end of the season, but they were up there for most of the season.
Well, Leicester's model is what
as a club
we're aiming for, isn't it?
Yeah, and like so, their player like Tielemans, he has to move to a bigger club, but why? Because next year he could be in Champions League with Leicester.
Exactly.
Because all they need to do now is make sure they can do it for 7 more games, rather than fall out.
So. Euros are over. Euros 2020 in 2021 are over. Strange. One last point, though, before we move on. How do we get the Premier League referees to the same standard of the European referees that we've seen throughout this tournament and a better use of VAR or better interpretation of VAR?
Well, what I really liked about the refereeing but it's just there were some bollocks on the referees to just look at a challenge and go, just because you've thrown yourself down, mate, it doesn't. That's not a foul. And
especially in the early games,
exactly. And even like those ones where there's a tiny bit of contact, you know, it's not. It hasn't forced you down. It's not a foul. You know what I mean? Like especially, I know it's different when it's in the penalty area because of VAR and things like that. But in the middle of the pitch, how many times did you go? And you watch the replay, you go. In the Premier League, that'd be foul all day long.
Yeah.
But it's good, and they're just like, you know, they go, come on, get up. And it was better. It was better. And you know what? It's because you mentioned there, especially in the early games, but the players all picked up on it. So they didn't throw themselves down as much. That's why you picked up on more in the early games, because then the players didn't do it so much, because they knew they weren't going to get away with it. And that's exactly what we need in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's the same with the VAR, the soft touch VAR. For me, it was so much better. Yeah, so much better.
No stupid jumbo lines either.
Yeah,
no jumbo lines. I know. Before anybody starts jumping down his throat, I know that they're what they're put on for television purposes, but we didn't need to see them because the decisions were the right ones. They were done in, promptly, and that was it. It was used the way it should be used. So let's keep an eye on the Premier League.
And it's not every game, multiple incidents, and the commentators. Well, let's have a look at the VAR and let's. How many times every game do we see it? VAR. That hardly ever happened. Hardly ever happened in the Euros. In most games, you forgot that it was even played with it. It's exactly what we need.
So, shall we park the Euros entirely now and let's start looking forward to fans back in the ground and Leeds United? I'll be honest, since the game finished the other day and I saw Calvin were back in Leeds doing a few tours around schools and stuff, started getting that warm feeling in my stomach again that we're in pre-season now. Friendlies are just around the corner. There's footage of people being made to run around that track at Thorpe Arch. It's happening. It's back. So a little bit of a highlight on the players that did obviously attend the Euros. Cork, totally unused. Llorente, unused. I'm happy about that. That makes me warm inside. Klitsch played 213 minutes, but went out a bit early in the tournament, so you'd imagine he's had a bit of a rest. And I saw him chasing the fitness coach and Liam Cooper around Thorpe Arch on the latest video. Roberts played
a lot of GTA online as Klitsch.
Has it?
If you follow him on Twitch, if you're into that, been playing GTA online. He speaks in Polish, so you can't understand it unless you know Polish. But
we can learn. Roberts, a grand total of 12 minutes. I felt a little bit sorry for him. There were times when Wales could have done with some attacking outlet, and then they decided to bring on like Mark Hughes or somebody instead of him, like wheeled on somebody in a wheelchair to play up there instead. And Cooper, 90 minutes for the mighty Scotland, Micah. So yeah, that was the grand total. Obviously, Gianni Alioski is not ours anymore. He's now departed this club and is no longer. In other news, we've not departed this club. Kiko Cassia is no longer a Leeds player.
Bye.
So I saw him playing in some nets for Elche.
Adios.
That looked like he probably could have made some saves out of. So yeah, look, we have our opinion on him. We've vented it a few times. Still part of history, I suppose, getting us promoted, but that's about it, I think.
It was pretty obvious last week when he was still in Spain and everyone else were at Leeds Uni getting everything probed into him.
Yeah.
Everything. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like it. Might sound it.
Since we were last on, we made a signing. Little old Leeds. No, it weren't Fede Bassoni, and no, it weren't the various other shit left backs we've had, Shane Lowry and co. We've only gone and signed a Barcelona left back in Junior Firpo, is what I'm going with. Yeah. I've been listening a little bit, and I saw some sort of abuse being directed at him for his time at Barcelona. But I've listened to a few Spanish correspondents who follow the game quite a lot over there and said that basically he was on an hiding to nothing from the get-go. He went in, got hooked after 45 minutes on his debut, and then basically just played second fiddle to Jordi Alba the rest of the time we were there.
If you're going to be a left back going in behind Jordi Alba, you've got a lot to live up to, really, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's probably been one of the best left backs of the last 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But from a positive point of view, he again feels like one of them players who've got bags of talent, oodles of talent, maybe lost the way a little bit, and just needs a little bit of direction from Marcelo. And I think seems like a perfect
he needs someone
deal, really.
Like Bielsa to get him back on track. A proper coach who's going to...
Yeah.
You look what I did with Benjamin Mendy and people like that. I think it bodes well for us. And we've got him in early so I can work with him. And we saw get that early sort of pre-season could do to get someone playing in a Bielsa way like it did with Calvin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he's smashing all the fitness, all the running, is he, or something?
Yeah.
Where I saw that.
It claims when he came in from Barcelona, the sort of news was that he smashed a lot of the records at the Barcelona training. And I saw Jamie Shackleton like rubbing his hands together, going, "Then come on, then, let's see what you're all made of." But yeah, he looks a fit lad. He looks athletic, and I think that's what he were well known at Betis, being athletic and getting involved and setting up goals and scoring goals and stuff. And you know, if we look how Marcelo developed Gianni in his defensive work, then I'm sure he'll be working hard with Junior. And also in the latest Inside Ellen Road, whatever it's called, training video, him and Jackie Harrison seem to have struck off a little bit of a bond. They were partnered up, having a bit of a laugh and a joke. So, you know, if two mates playing that left-hand side who learn each other's game, it can only be a positive thing. So, doubled his wages, which is interesting.
Of like friendships, I'm really loving the Rafinha and the Rodrigo bromance.
I think they've been bromancing for a while, I think, haven't they, them two?
Yeah, but they seem to be, every video that I've seen, it's always them two together.
I did like that, but what I wasn't a massive fan of is Rodrigo wearing enormous dangly earrings like he's about to read your palm at a local fair.
What?
Literally, like, he had like 7 rows of really dangly earrings, and I was like, okay, that's a fashion statement indeed. So,
that won't catch on.
No, probably not. But yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on inside training to see other things. Interestingly, on the next discussion topic, we've not seen much of Ilan diving around, keeping balls out of net, only a little bit. And there's a bit of questioning about who's going to play second fiddle to him, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Junior Firpo, everybody happy with that one? Doubled the Barcelona players' wages, which I find interesting. But from listening,
so he's doubled his wages and Messi's halved his wages, according to reports.
More than half.
So I was listening to our mates at the Square Ball on the Phil Hay show, and they had a Spanish correspondent on, and they basically said that Firpo was one of the lowest paid players, and even clearing him out doesn't put a dent into the £200 million a week that they've got to save.
Yeah.
So basically, Messi is
hilarious.
He's playing for nothing at the moment at Barcelona, really, in terms of him. I mean, it would be a lot to me and you, but to him, not much. Trev Brennan's back. Question for you. Do you think Leeds are going to do a season like Sheffield United, great first season, then lost it in the second season? No, absolutely not. No. If you
look at the caliber of signings.
I know people will go, oh, well, Yeah, you're saying that now, but yeah, just look at what we went and did, and look at what Sheffield United went and did.
We're buying people from Barcelona. They're buying fucking Ollie McBurney.
Yeah, so
And Ramsdale.
I don't expect to have egg on face with this one, to be honest. I think I'm quite comfortable that we'll not have a second season like them. Other transfer news then, because I got accused today when I tweeted out from the Talking Shutt account that the transfer machine was kicking into life. No, it's not. We've only signed some children, was the answer I got back. So let's just have a little bit of a look of the signings so far. Junior Firpo, not a child. Jack Harrison, not a child. Amari Miller, child. Sean McGurk, child. Daryl Ombang, proper That's child. Perfect. He's only 16. Really, really child, that one. Going out then, Pablo Gaetano Berardi, Jalioski, Edmondson, Casey, McCalmont, Mucic. Is it Mucic who's gone to Las Palmas? Ben, is that how you pronounce it?
Mujica.
Lawrence DeBock, who's pinching a living, and Kiko Cassia. And we've not heard anything of the mercurial Usain boy. I'm not sure if he's still at the club.
No, he got released. He got released,
let people's tyres down or something. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But talking about the transfer rumours kicking into life a little bit, I think it's been much talked about, particularly from Graham Smith at the Athletic, at the Yorkshire Evening Post. That
getting him a new job.
Getting him a new job, yeah. The Orta's been chatting to a mystery central midfielder. I think it was quoted in another piece. It's going to be a youngster, someone who who Bielsa can sort of shape into what he wants, kind of thing. One name linked, Toto Belmonte. Ben, Spanish football correspondent. Do you know anything about Toto Belmonte?
No.
The man from Belmonte.
The man from Belmonte, yeah.
Toto Belmonte.
That's a Football Manager regen name.
Yeah.
Toto Belmonte. And he said he was a mysterious... Yeah, it's a regen. Yeah, it's a
regen. Yeah, get some kid with a pixelated face. Anyway, so yeah, he's one of the names mentioned.
Toto Belmonte.
Nathan Nandez is the new Rodrigo de Paul, where every Leeds fan wants him to come because he's got a flamboyant second name. He's making all the noise that he wants to come, but I don't think the club are actually that bothered about him.
No, there is. I'm just going to retweet it from my account.
Is that the thing about Arthur flying out?
No, Fabrizio Romano has said something on it, and because we're talking here, I can't hear it through my headphones at the same time, so I don't know what it says.
Oh, well, that's no good. If anybody knows what he said, let us know in the comments. In other news, goalkeepers. So obviously Kiko's gone to Elche. Sorry, not gone back. Names linked. Freddie Woodman. Now, I saw something just before I came on. Freddie Woodman had a medical lined up at Bournemouth, but then it fell through because Martin Dubravka hurt his shoulder. So that tells you that he's obviously looking for a move. But you'd imagine he'd go to Bournemouth and be the main man, number one. Yeah. So it depends if he wants to come here and be...
was he number one at Swansea last year and the year before that? Or on 2 years? Yeah, so I think a player of his age is going to be at least playing number one in Championship. Yeah. So I don't think that's really going to happen.
This one's an interesting one, though. The Norwegian lad Claesson, 20 years old, playing for Valhalla. He's playing for Valhalla.
He's playing in Valhalla.
So this is the interesting one because he's very young, very highly thought of in Norway. And he's the one that I could possibly see coming in at 20 because the link was that we'd looked at a player who, at the same time as Elan, and he'd gone on to get a lot of first-team appearances. I think this kid had been number one at Valhalla for ages. So he could be the one I think that we'll actually go for. And the other name is Daniel Cardenas, 24 from Levante. Ben, talk to me. Spanish football correspondent, being a big Las Palmas fan. What do you know about Daniel Cardenas?
I only watch shit Spanish football, so I don't know.
So, okay, good. And the name that we've linked, that we're linking, and we're going to run with this one, Marcin Bulka at PSG. We'll link with him before.
Although our source hasn't said no on that.
Yeah, our source has not said no, but he's also not said anything, so that's what you want.
He's not replied.
He's also blocked your DMs.
Our source is clinically mute.
So there is a chance.
I'm just going to check that theory, Rags, actually. Has he now blocked my shit? Let's have a look.
Because if he's blocked you, that means
no blockage. It's happening. It's happening. Marcin Bulka, next signing at Leeds. That's going on the clickbait website tomorrow. No two ways about that one. So yeah, then the name's linked. At the moment, we'll have to wait and see on that. But Orta, I think, did say to Graham at the YEP that he wanted to get it done with pretty sharpish. So we'll maybe see in the next couple of days. It's quite funny seeing all the flight trackers of what we think is Leeds' private plane zipping about all over the world.
Any private planes that have gone out of the Yorkshire area in the last week or so have been Orta, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about Orta's getting sick of sticking cotton buds up his nose. He'll have had some serious amount of COVID tests, the amount of dotting about he's had to do. Now, we have got a little bit, a tiny, minuscule amount of an exclusive. Not really exclusive. Liam G, hopefully the interest in Kent isn't true. We're not signing Kane. He was bang average for Rangers in the middle of a championship calibre teams. Leeds still, Marcelo still fancies Ryan Kent.
Yeah, he seems to be one that's
if he could
not
get
going
him,
away.
He would get him. I guarantee he would get him if he could, without a doubt. But I don't think we can. I don't think we'll prize him away from Rangers. So, the winger one might come a bit later in the window, I think Graham said at the YEP. But Leeds still do hold an interest in Ryan Kemp from what we've been told by the sources that do reply to text messages. Not the ones
Things can happen, like you look at the Rafinha transfer and how that sort of just evolved later on. And things like that can happen. And as much as everyone wants to get as many people in as possible, sometimes you may be better off waiting just for that one that might happen later on.
Yeah.
It's the same with anything, isn't it? And the Euros will, you've seen that all of a sudden since Sunday, there's been movement on these other players that that have been rumoured. And we all know that players have to move to free up those positions to then, and it's like a chain, isn't it? So you're going to expect it to really start to kick on now that the Euros are over, definitely.
It's very much said of the Noah Lang transfer that Bruges want someone to replace him before they'll let him go.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair enough, and that's how it kind of works. It's like buying a house, isn't it? You have chains, and that means something else happens to something else and stuff like that.
Bruges, I have a solution for you. Goes by the name of Hadi Sacco. Go find him. He's knocking about somewhere. I think maybe in Portugal. He's a man. He's who you need. You need an Hadi Sacco in your life. Yeah. A few people saying we're not in for a winger. That's not what Graham Smith is saying at the YEP, and he's far better connected than we are. So
you see, people say we're not in for this and we're not in for that. I reckon if the right person came up and it was something on, because without a doubt they have a list for each position. If a player came up that was a too good a deal or too good a player to not do, they'd do it.
Yeah. Just to give some context to what Ben said about things changing. We were in contact with an agent a bit ago. We're a player that went out to a Premier League club and he weren't coming back on loan. And then we got a phone call 24 hours later to say we're coming back on loan. So that's how quick things change in the transfer world. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But we will not be releasing any more exclusives because we don't have any. So that's it. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Anyway.
I think Hadi said to bring back a very old feature of ours of the
Amadou
where
Haidara,
are they now? Yeah, Hadi Sacco's in Turkey.
Is he, mate? Who's he playing for?
Yeah, is he?
Oh no, he's been released. He was released from Denizlispor.
Right. Yeah. I remember doing the graphics for that stuff.
White Peacock Andy on YouTube says we're after a central mid and a goalkeeper. We're not after a winger, he says. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, lads, talking about transfers, we made our first signing as a podcast this week, didn't we? It's an extension of a current loan deal. But we're very pleased to announce that we are sponsored by the fine individuals at Manscaped. Obviously, lockdown's due to end as such on Monday, and things might get spicy in certain people's lives, and you might need to tidy some stuff up. You've got people to impress.
Nightclubs are opening.
Nightclubs are opening. You might need to get things in order.
Trim the thatch.
Trim the thatch. So, lads, obviously we've all got one of these beauties at home. Look, mine's on my bedside table, recharging after I gave the boys a little bit of a clean up the other day.
There's no way.
I'm glad you've clarified that.
You keep that on the bedside table.
Absolutely. Do I keep it on the bedside table? Why would you not, Mike? You've got plants. I've got an acca trimmer. What's your problem? What's your problem? I dust it down
I got a
first,
problem.
obviously. Dust it down first.
I tell you what, Gaz, I've been very impressed with its battery life as well.
Yeah, I've only charged mine.
I've not had to charge mine up yet. We've had them,
funny.
2 months?
That's funny. I've only charged mine once, and whenever I can't find my car keys for work, I use the light as well, and I still haven't run out of light. So anyway,
The light's better than green, isn't it?
we're sponsored by the fantastic guys at Manscaped. For everything for your below the belt grooming and to tidy yourself up a little bit for the lover of your life when lockdown finally finishes. Obviously, the lawnmower, which we've just shown there, is waterproof. You can use it in the shower. It's got a little light on it in case you get lost in the shower.
In case you lose your car keys up there.
It's got special skin-safe technology that stops you nicking your balls. However, you need to leave the guard on, don't you, Ben?
Don't you, Ben? Yeah.
Don't you, Ben? Well, after Ben had a little accident, we were hoping that Quick Clot would sponsor us as well to stop Ben's bleeding ball bag. Also in there, you can get lots of other stuff. A bit of ball toner, we like a bit of ball toner, and a bit of knacker deodorant, just in case you're on the fly. You're meeting up with, the relevant party. You've given it a bit of a dust up the night before. Just need a bit of freshness before, the moment of truth. Get one of them as well.
It's warm out.
Yeah, exactly.
Very warm
out. It's warm out. You also get a Manscaped bag, which is class. A really little cool, like you see footballers coming off of buses holding little wash bags. You can get yourself one with your knacker trimmer in. So you can take it everywhere in case you have to.
Do you reckon all footballers have one and they stand there in the shower?
Down the swimming baths, Gaz.
Yeah.
I am going to make it our mission, while ever Manscaped are our sponsor, to get a footballer coming off a coach somewhere carrying a Manscaped bag. That's what I'm gonna. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna go for. So yeah. Anyway, to find out what else you can get, we're just gonna smash this on. So yeah, it's arrived. Let's have a look. So, from our new sponsors at Manscaped, where we can offer you 20% off with Shaving Shutt discount code. Let's see what we've got. Ooh, little bag, we'll look at that in a bit. Some large boxer shorts, other sizes are available. Now we're into the hardware. Got shower-friendly knacker trimmer, including LED light. 7,400 RPM, so the little leaflet thing tells you. Bit of ball toner. Game changer. Bit of anti-chafing ball deodorant. Made without sulfates, parabens or dyes. Gentle on the skin. Let's see what's in this little bag. It's only a game changer. You can store it on your bedside table. So, Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. 20% off with Shaving Shutt at checkout. Go check them out, manscaped.com. So yeah, go check out manscaped.com. Big thanks to them for getting on board with us again. And they've got some new products coming out around the 20th, I think. So keep an eye on that. And don't forget, 20% off.
You'll know next week.
Yeah, 20% off and free shipping. So yeah, get involved. Really good bit of kit, actually. Really good bit of hardware. We joke, but nobody likes somebody with massive hairy balls, so shave them. Anyway,
not in 2021.
Not in 2021. COVID's over. We start looking forward now. Smooth balls.
This is like a team talk.
No more lockdown. We're doing it. Anyway.
New balls.
Come on, lads.
New balls. Anyway.
Stop locking down your genitals with hair.
Yeah. Stop.
What the fuck?
Neil Warner. Who's ready for this?
Stop isolating your other half from your knackers. Get them involved. Anyway, we'll have a bit of this before this gets silly.
Shit out of the week.
The shit house of the week segment, and this week it could have been very busy, but we've managed to narrow it down to just 3 lucky people or group of people. So number 1, COVID-19. We've had it on there since COVID began, full 16 months ago. Everybody's getting fed up of it, but keep washing your hands and shaving your balls. Right, the EFL have outdone themselves today, so they've appointed a certain Peter Ridsdale as chief executive.
Yeah.
Do they do any background checks?
Yeah.
Any background checks whatsoever?
You know what? No, I was thinking about this, and maybe he's the perfect person to have because there's that many teams in the Championship that are financially absolutely wrecked.
Oh yeah, but it's really good
with
it's good with teams like that. Is that what you're saying?
No, but maybe it's good to have someone with experience in that.
In buying fish tanks.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll just sink the EFL. Maybe he'll.
Maybe
I mean, he won't make up for what he's done, but he might just sink the EFL out.
maybe it's a plan by the Illuminati to put Ridsdale in charge and blow up the EFL, as in break the EFL.
I mean, the fact that he was ever able to be a director or on a board of directors to any other football club, it was a joke after what he did to us anyway. To then be on the governing body of a fucking league, I mean,
proper boys club, innit? It's got to be proper boys club.
It's a strange affair. But do you know what the best thing about that appointment is? It's got fuck all to do with us.
Correct.
Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord that we don't have to adhere to anything, because he will want to wreck us, by the way. He is like Ken Bates Mark II. He'll not settle until Leeds are destroyed, somewhere along those lines. So, and the final nomination is just racists in general. Racists in general. I don't feel like I need to go into that any deeper, really. If you are...
Maggie's hit the nail on the head.
Racially abusing a player because they missed
degenerates,
you need to have a word with yourself on a massive scale.
I'm not going to go defending racism. Everyone was pissed off that they missed penalties, and I guess there's an element of banter that can be brought about with that. Like, I can guarantee when Leeds go to Old Trafford, there will be some banter about them missing the penalties in the Euros.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in football games.
Yeah.
But to then take it to that level where you're bringing in racism, you're just a knobhead.
Yeah.
There's no reason to bring that in anything, really.
Yeah.
So why use that as a way to sort of target someone because of that? It's just cowardly as well.
Yeah.
Because they won't go straight to the faces.
Applying logic to it, like, you can't expect logical thought from a racist person. Because if they were capable of logical thought, they wouldn't be a racist in the first place. I've seen some weird stuff about, like, some weird, we got this kind of Premier League thing now. Some fans like, when Leeds play Man U, maybe we can do some nice, make a nice gesture to Sancho and Rashford. No. Yeah. It's like, no chance. Not on your Nelly.
I mean, football's tribal, isn't it? That's not what it's about. But the about bit is there's a line to this shit.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There's a line.
There's tribal football rivalry.
You abuse them for being Man United fans. You don't abuse them for being black.
Yeah.
You choose 100%. To be a Man United fan. You choose to, choose to be a Man United player. You choose to be. You don't choose the colour of your skin.
No.
End of.
And one last one that I've not put in here, but I'm going to have a little bit of a rant about it. These people who decided because they've got an entitlement that they should be at the European final because they want to be, so they just jump the gate, volley stewards out of the way and run inside. Like, no, that's not how it works. You and the other 50,000 people wanted to be at that game, but majority of people went, I didn't get a ticket, so I'll do something nice with my loved ones. I'll go to the pub with my mates. I'll watch it on my own. Whatever they chose to do. They didn't choose to charge the gate, risk injury to themselves, stewards, and ticket-paying going people because they feel like there's some sort of entitlement to be there. And it's part and parcel, the thing that's wrong at the moment, that everybody seems to have, or some people seem to have this entitlement that they deserve to go to the final because it's in England and England are in the final. It's peculiar, to say the least.
I agree what you say. You can't just start going places and saying, well, I want to go in here, so I'm going to go in for break-in and go in for free. That's just doesn't make sense. The issue is that people are priced out of these games.
Yeah, there is that,
yeah.
Now, the cheapest ticket,
that's a different debate in itself, isn't it?
It is, but I think it follows on from it that you'll have had lads there that have maybe gone to, I'm trying to think who we played, Albania or something like that, and travelled to Albania and gone to these games, and it gets to the final and you have to pay, or if you were lucky, you got to pay £80. I know a few lads who were on the fans first thing and they got £80 tickets. But if you weren't on anything like that, you're looking at least £500 for the final ticket, if not over £1,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, lads who are following football, and I don't want to sort of stereotype here, the sort of 18 to 25, they might have a girlfriend, but they've got no sort of life commitments in terms of houses, stuff like that. They've got a job, they go to football, they go to away days, and it sort of follows on to the Leeds sort of the away ticketing thing for Leeds as well. That the people who go to, I used to go to a lot of away games, but then I got a house, a mortgage, and money got tighter and stuff like that, and that's how life goes. And I said, I'm not going to go to away games, I can't afford to do that and do other stuff. So, and that's life. But to get to a final like that, and the lads who have followed England and supported England be then priced out, is not fair.
No,
and that is how football is, because, and I fear the day that Leeds get into the Champions League and the prices skyrocket. You look at the prices to go to an Arsenal game and you're looking like £100 a ticket, or over £1,000 for a season ticket and stuff like that. And I think, and I talk about it with my mates, that when we get to a certain level and how much would you pay, and I'm thinking like £550 is like £100 more than what I pay now.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that seems a lot, but probably look at game by game, it's probably not. But still, it's a lot of money if you're a young lad on an apprenticeship at 18 and you're wanting to go to away games, you're wanting to go to England games and stuff like that. But then you see people there, like Tom Cruise was at the final, and all these guests that get free tickets and stuff like that, who could probably pay for tickets out of pocket change at £1,000. And as much as we said, you can't just start breaking into places that you want to go and see people, like see things. You can't just go walk into the cinema and say, I'm watching this film, because that's just not how life works. But cinema's quite reasonably priced, and there's no sort of levels in that. You don't get, when a new movie comes out, the price in 10 times more just because it's a new movie or whatever. Yeah. It's all sort of level. But in football, once you get to a certain level where it's more interest to a higher, I don't want to say higher standard of people, but a higher wealth of people, then that's where the normal people get priced out, and that's wrong.
Yeah, totally agree. Absolutely, 100% agree with you. But that still shouldn't detract away from people just taking it upon themselves to risk the safety of other people by just basically doing what they want. Like, it's not. My heart goes out to all them lads who've travelled up and down the world following England and then get priced out of a final, because it's, well, like you say, it's disgusting. UEFA should have a word with themselves, because, like you said, they're just trying to cash in really on a major final in England, and then you see people like Tom Cruise and Kate Moss and people like that sat there and thinking it's just not right when people can't go. But again, still come away with the fact that all them people who decided they were going to go in there, not all of them for me were, these ardent England fans who follow them around the world. A lot of them were just idiots who decided to take a chance and think, I'm going to get into this final, and I don't really care about anybody else to get in there either. And do you know something? I also don't agree with people who decided to take it too far when they did break through and start volleying people and stuff when they don't floor. It's just a coward trick, to be truly honest. But it left a bit of a sour taste. I was equally as gutted about what had gone off after the game, before the game, as much as the game itself. If I'm really honest, on Monday morning, it were a bit sour.
I was going to say, we didn't cover ourselves as a nation in glory, did we? Like, no. The way that we hosted it and the way that our fans behaved wasn't good.
No. And then you've got there's been numerous on the Harry Maguire said his dad had got clobbered. I think Don Matteo took his family out because he were worried about the safety. the kid who's the Formula One driver, Lando, got his watch nicked. Like cars got turned over, all that type of stuff. When did that ever become a thing that, well, we'll just smash the place up because we're in a final of a major tournament and then we'll blame it on COVID. We'll say, oh, yeah, COVID's fault. But I guarantee the majority of the people out there smashing central London up because we're in a major final probably weren't adhering to the COVID regulations anyway. I would hazard a guess at. So, yeah, a little bit sour tasted. So, who do we want to win shithouse of the week? COVID-19, racists. Yeah, racists. They've been winning it quite a lot, don't they, racists, to be fair?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a level that you can't really beat that.
Surpass. Yeah. Anyway, Euros are in the rearview mirror. Leeds United is looking forward now. Do we expect some transfers to start tickling in the next couple of weeks, or certainly some bigger names? I mean, what are we out 31 days from a Man United game? I think, or 30 games, so 30 days, something like that. If they're going to get
a couple more pre-season games, maybe a couple abroad.
Yeah,
so I think we will. I don't know if we will do any abroad.
I heard that little tickle. We had that little tickle last week, didn't we, about potentially playing Ajax? That was a rumor that we'd. I heard. But again, it's only Amsterdam, innit? It's only a nip over.
They've Holland have sort of put their restrictions up again after releasing them a bit. So I think it'll all depend on that, with quarantining and ambers and reds and greens. And stuff like that. We've got Geisley on. Is it a week next Tuesday?
Yeah.
So I think by then I'd like to maybe, if we're going for 3 players, if we're going for a midfielder, a goalkeeper, and a winger, I'd like to think 2 of them are done by then.
Yeah, I think the winger might come later on because it seems less pressing, but the central midfielder would be nice to get in sooner rather than later to get Bielsa. So yeah, we'll have to.
Due to the scheduling of the friendlies as well, I'm expecting at least one more because it looks like he's going to split the squad again.
Yeah.
There was something I can't remember who had the conversation. There was something that Grayson said about the Fleetwood game, and he's asked him to do something a bit weird.
Yeah, 3:45 minutes in it. Somebody put it in the Somebody put it in the comments earlier.
Can you play 2 starting 11s, please? One each half or something.
Hold on. Oh, here we got 3
sets of murder ball.
Alan Stirk. I heard the Fleetwood friendly might be 3:45 minutes at the request of Bielsa.
Yeah.
Get him. Getting a lot of bang for your buck at that away game, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, guys, any of you were looking at getting to any of the friendlies pre-seasoners?
I've got a ticket, but I'm gonna charge in just
in.
Well, no, get in, and then just go to a fire door, open it up, and
I'm gonna try and get to the Blackburn game. I've got a friend who's gonna try and get me and Judd a ticket, so I'm gonna try and get to that one. If I can. Judd's first away game.
And Dull Ben and Raggy and
Mike and everybody.
I told you I've got those Blackburn tickets for the championship game that me and young Ben were going to go to. So I've still got those tickets. They won't check, will they? They won't check.
Basically, Gaz is getting us a box at Barnsley.
A
box.
Barnsley? Who's playing at Barnsley?
A horse box.
I didn't know boxes at Barnsley. Anyway. We'll have to wait and see. Right, that brings us to an end of episode 152. A little bit of a disjointed one, that weird area between the Euros finishing and club football starting, a bit of a crossover. But next week, we'll be back fully 100% Leeds United.
The close season gooch.
The close season gooch. We had the Christmas gooch, didn't we, a few years ago?
We had the Christmas gooch, and this is the close season gooch. And you know what you have to do with a gooch? Use your Manscaped to keep
shave the gooch. Yeah, whatever you do. Anyway. That brings us to the end of episode 152. A big thanks to everybody who has tuned in, shared comments, and all that type of stuff. Sorry if we've not managed to read out your comment and stuff. Coming back next week, join us, same place, same time, hopefully in 3D, but maybe not. We look forward to seeing you again. Thanks to Manscaped, thanks to everybody who supports us, and we'll see you soon. Out to there.
See you there.